Everyone, in our today's ratio analysis lecture, we are solving the practical number 11. The basic, which are the ratio we have to calculate: current ratio, liquidity ratio, debtors ratio, gross profit ratio, stock turnover ratio, rate on return on equity shareholders funds, and earning per share. The other things are current ratio, liquid ratio, debtors ratio. You can easily find out with the solving this. Now the two basic new things how to do in this chapter is I am explaining only the ratio number 6 and 7. That might be difficult to solve the sum. Other ratios are as easy as earlier sums, right? So here we are solving only the sixth one. What is the ratio? Ratio is equals to rate on return on equity shareholders funds. So what is this? We have to find out the return only on the equity shareholders fund, right? So what would be the formula? Formula would be profit after tax minus preference dividend upon equity shareholders fund. So first we have to find out the net profit minus preference share dividend. Net profit before preference dividend is given, so we have to deduct the preference dividend. So 35,000 minus preference dividend. Preference dividend will be 10% preference share capital is given, so 50,000's 10%, it will come 5,000. So 35,000 minus 5,000, 30,000. We are calculating for the year 2012. So profit after tax minus preference dividend would be 30,000. And then equity shareholders fund. Which are the equity shareholders fund? It will include equity share, general reserve and surplus, and profit and loss account, credit balance. Like, so we have a equity share 1 lakh rupees plus 30,000 general reserve plus 20,000 profit and loss. What will be the total? Total will be 1,50,000. We are putting both the values in the equation. So we get 30,000 divided by equity shareholders fund 1,50,000 into 100. So return on equity shareholders fund will come 20%. Right? For the 2013, again we have to find out the net profit minus preferential dividend, right? So for the 2015, 47,500 net profit before preference dividend is given, right? So we have to deduct a preference dividend, same 5,000. So net profit will come 42,500. Now the equity shareholders fund. Equity shareholders fund includes, what is this? Equity shareholders, general reserve, and profit and loss. Here it's not given, but in the debit side is given. So whenever its debit balance is given, so we have to deduct, right? So we have to deduct the things. P&L. So 1,50,000 plus 30,000 minus 10,000. So 1,50,000 plus 30,000, 180,000, 180,000 minus 10,000. It will come 170,000. So equity shareholders fund will come 1,70,000, right? Both the value we are putting in the equation. So net profit after preference dividend, it will come 42,500 divided by equity shareholders fund, it will come 1,70,000. In 200 we get 25%, right? Now next is earning per share ratio. What is the formula of the earning per ratio? Profit after tax and dividend also. Profit after tax and minus preferential dividend also divided by number of equity share. So profit after tax minus dividend, we have already calculated it, 30,000 divided by number of equity share. So how we will find out the number of equity share? So equity amount is given 1 lakh and number of share per rupees is given 100, so 1 lakh divided by 100, it will come 1000, so it will come 30 rupees per share. For 2013, there is a 42,500 rupees upon number of the share. Number of share will be 1500. So earning per share for the 2013, it will come 28.33 per share. Got it? Now we are solving the illustration number 12. In the illustration number 12, the following are a balance sheet of the Viral Limited as on 31st March 2012 and 13, 2 years balance sheet is given. The additional information is given, total purchase and net profit. You have to find out the following ratios. First is current ratio, as easier. Current ratio is equals to current asset divided by current liability. You can easily find out the current asset here and current liability from this side, right? Then long term funds to the fixed asset, creditors ratio, then rate on return on capital employed, rate on return on equity shareholders fund, and gearing ratio. Here we are solving the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of them except the current ratio, because current ratio is as easier than other sum. It's a simple ratio, so you can easily find out. Here we are solving with the second to sixth ratio, right? So let's start the illustration number 12. First we are finding for the 2012. First is long-term funds to fixed asset. The name suggests that the formula of the ratio is long-term funds divide by fixed asset into 100, right? So let's find out the long-term asset for the year 2012. So long-term asset will come equity share, preference share, 10% debenture, general reserve and P&L, right? So 4 lakh plus 2 lakh plus 1 lakh plus 1 lakh 50,000 and only 50,000. It will come 9 lakh. So long-term funds will be 9 lakh. Divide by fixed asset. Which are the fixed asset? Land and building, plant and machinery and furniture. 4 lakh plus 3 lakh plus 1 lakh. It will come 8 lakh into 100. 9 lakh divided by 8 lakh into 100. It will come 112.5. This is the year for 2012. Now we are calculating for the 2013. Again, long-term funds include the equity shareholders 10%, preference shareholders 10%, debenture, general reserve and profit and loss account, right? So it will come 11 lakh. Divide by fixed asset, land and building 4 lakh 50,000 and plant and machinery 2 lakh 60,000 and furniture 90,000. So 450 plus 260 plus 90. It will come again 8 lakh into 100. So 11 lakh divide by 8 lakh into 100. It will come 137.5%, right? Now we are finding third ratio, creditors ratio. Creditors ratio is equals to creditors plus bills payable divided by credit purchase. Right? So creditors is given 75,000 plus bills payable, it's given 25,000, and credit purchase is not given. So first we have to find out the credit purchase. The hint is given, the total purchase is 7 lakh. Out of the case purchase are 2/5 of the credit purchase. Let's do some note work. So note 1, total purchase is given 7 lakh. In the total purchase there is always 2 bifurcation. First is cash purchase, and second is credit purchase, right? So what is the given? The cash purchase are 2/5 of the credit purchase, right? So suppose we have to find out the credit purchase. First we have to find out the credit purchase. Suppose whenever we get the credit purchase, then and only then we get a cash purchase, just because it's a 2/5 of credit purchase, right? So let's convert 2/5 into the percentage. So 2/5 into 100, we can 40%, right? So here we are assuming that a credit purchase is 100%, then cash sale will be 40%. So total purchase will be 100 plus 40%, it will come 140, right? So at a 140 percentage, the total purchase will be 6 lakh. Then at 100%, what will come? So 7 lakh into 100 divided by 140, it will come 5 lakh, right? So credit purchase will be 5 lakh and cash purchase will be 5 lakhs 40%, it will come 2 lakh. So 5 lakh plus 2 lakh, total 7 lakh is coming, right? So credit purchase we get 5 lakh. So we are putting here credit purchase will be 5 lakh. So what we did, the credit ratio 1 lakh divided by 5 lakh, it will come into 360 days, into days 360 is given, so it will come 72 days, right? The same way you can find it for the 2013 year, right? Now we are calculating fourth ratio, rate of return on capital employed, right? So what would the formula of the capital employed? For the rate of return on capital employed is EBIT upon capital employed into. We have to find out the earning before interest and tax, but in a sum it is given after interest and tax, right? So we have to go reverse. So EBIT minus interest minus tax, then we get profit after tax. So we have a profit after tax 85,000. Tax rate is a 50%, so it is a 50%. Tax will be obviously 50%. So 85,000, tax will be 85,000. 85,000 plus 85,000, 1,70,000, right? Then we have to add an interest. Interest is 10% debenture of rupees 1 lakh. 1,10,000. 1,10%, it will come. So 70,000 plus 10,000, it will come 1,80,000. So for 2012, the EBIT will be 1,80,000. Divide by capital employed. Capital employed is equals to long-term funds minus fictitious asset, but there is a no fictitious asset, though we know the capital employed. With capital employed same as a earlier, it is a 9 lakh. So it will come 9 lakh into 100. So it will come 1,80,000 divided by 9 lakh into 100. it will come 20%. Now for 2013, the same way we have to find out earning before interest and tax. We have to find out minus interest minus tax, then we get profit after interest and tax. So it is profit after interest and tax is given 1,21,500, right? It is the tax rate is a 50%. So same way we have to add 1,21,500. So profit before tax it will come 2,43,000, plus we have to add interest as well. We have to add interest 10,000. It will come 2,44,000. Sorry, 2,53,000. Right? So what we get for EBIT? EBIT we get 2,53,000. Upon capital employed as we earlier calculated 11 lakh into 100. So 2,53,000 divided by 11 lakh into 100. It will come 23%. Right? Then we have to find out rate on return on equity shareholders. 5. Rate of return on equity shareholders funds. What would it be the formula? Formula is equals to profit after tax minus preference dividend upon equity share capital into 100. So profit after tax already is given 85,000 minus preference dividend. Preference dividend become, first we are finding for 2012. So 2 lakhs 10%, 20,000 upon equity share capital is given 4 lakh. So 65,000 upon 4 lakh. Equity share capital also includes general reserve and P&L. So general reserve comes 1,50,000 plus 50,000. It will come 6 lakh into 100. 65,000 divided by 6 lakh into 100. It will come 10.83%. The same way we have to find out for the 2013 year. Profit after tax is given 1,21,500 minus preference dividend. Preference dividend will be same 20,000 upon equity share capital 5 lakh plus reserve 2 lakh plus 1 lakh. 5 plus 2 7 plus 1 8. So it will come 1,21,500 minus 20,000 upon 8 lakh into 100. It will come 12.69%. This is the fifth ratio. Now we are finding last one, sixth. Gearing ratio. What is the formula of the gearing ratio? The formula of the gearing ratio is equals to fixed interest and fixed dividend bearing capital divide by ordinary capital. So which are the capital that's required? A fixed interest and fixed dividend, right? So fixed interest paid on the 10% debenture. So 10% debenture will be 1 lakh plus fixed dividend bearing. So fixed dividend on the preference capital. So it will become 2 lakh divided by ordinary capital. That means equity share capital. That's come to 4 lakh. So 3 lakh divide by 4 lakh into 100 into 100. It will come 75% for the year 2012. The same way we have to find out on the basis of 2013's data. The fixed interest bearing capital will be 10% debenture. It will remain same, 1 lakh plus 2 lakh. Equity share capital change, it will become 5 lakh. So it will come 3 lakh divided by 5 lakh into 100 into 100. It will become 60%. Right? Now we are calculating the latest examination sums. First, Jignesh Limited, in which we have to find out opening stock, closing stock and creditors, and sum of information are given. What is given? Sales is 5 lakh given, gross profit correction is there 35%. Stock turnover ratio 2.5 times, working days 350, creditors ratio 140, and the opening stock is more by the 6,000 than the closing stock. So we have to find out opening stock, closing stock and creditors, right? Let's start the practical number 1, latest practical number 1. First, sales and gross profit ratio is given, right? So 5 lakh and gross profit ratio is given 35%. So out of this both of information, we can find out the gross profit. So gross profit ratio is equals to gross profit divided by sales. Right? So 35% is given. So gross profit upon sales 5 lakh. So gross profit will be 1,75,000. This is all the information we are required for the calculation of the opening stock, closing stock and creditors, right? So we have get the gross profit. Out of that we have to find out the cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold is equals to sales minus gross profit. So sales will be 1,75,000 minus gross profit. Sales will be 5 lakh minus gross profit will be 1,75,000. Then cost of goods sold will become 3,25,000. Right? For the stock turnover ratio, stock turnover ratio is equals to cost of goods sold divided by average stock. Right? So we have a cost of goods sold 3,25,000, but we don't have a average stock. So first we have to find out the average stocks. So average stock is equals to opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2. Right? So average stock, how will we find out? The same way. Suppose the hint is given opening stock is more by 6,000 than closing stock. So opening stock is more than a 6,000 than closing stock. So let's suppose closing stock is X, then opening stock will be X plus 6,000, right? So this amount we will put here, so we get X plus 6,000 divided by 2. So average stock will become X plus X divided by 6 plus 6,000 divided by 2, right? So let's put here. So stock turnover ratio is given, yes, it's given 2.5. Cost of goods sold we have to already calculate 3,25,000 upon average stock. What we are putting here, this element. So X plus 6,000 divided by 2. The denominator come into the numerator. So it will calculate like this. 2.5 is equals to 3,25,000 into 2. Because denominator goes into the numerator, and here the X plus X 2X. So it will create 2X plus 6,000, right? This element we have to cross multiply it. It's in denominator, it's come here, numerator, and it will come here. So 2X plus 6,000 is equals to 3,25,000 into 2. It will come 6,50,000 divided by 2.5. So it will come 2,60,000. Here 6,000 is in a plus. When it's come this side, it will become minus. So it will become 2X is equals to 2,60,000 minus 6,000. It will come 2,54,000. So as X will become 2,54,000 divided by 2. It will come 1,27,000. Right? What we are assuming for the X? We are assuming that X is a closing stock. So what we get, closing stock is equals to 1,27,000, right? And now opening stock. Opening stock is 6,000, then the closing stock, the 27,000 plus 6,000, it will come 1,33,000. Understood? We have to find out the closing stock as well as opening stock. Now we have to find out the creditors. So creditors ratio is given. Creditors ratio is equals to creditors plus bills payable divided by credit purchase or purchase into days, right? So first we have required a purchase. Does we have a purchase? No, we don't have a purchase. So first find out the credit purchase or purchase. So as we all know, we have the two formulas for the cost of goods sold. So second formula is cost of goods sold is equals to opening stock plus purchase minus closing stock, right? So from this formula we can find out the purchase. So what will be the cost of goods sold? Cost of goods sold will be 3,25,000. So 3,25,000 plus opening stock 1,27,000 plus we are supposing purchase as a X minus closing stock will be 1,33,000. Sorry, closing stock is a 1,33,000 opening stock and closing stock will be 2,70,000, right? So 1,33,000 minus 1,27,000, it will come 6,000. So we have X plus 600 is equals to 3,25,000, right? 6,000 here it's a plus, when come this side it will become minus. So 3,25,000 minus 6,000. We get purchase of rupees 3,19,000. Purchase is equals to 3,19,000. Right? From the using that we put into this formula. So creditors, bills payable is not given, so assume that there is a nil. Purchase is 3,19,000 into days. 350 days is given, and the creditors ratio is given 140. Right? Let's calculate it. So it will come like this. Creditors is equals to this comes this side. So 3,19,000 into 140 divided by 350. So 3,19,000 into 140 divided by 350. It will come 1,27,600. So creditors will come 1,27,600. Understood? Now we are solving the practical number 18 RK Limited, in which we have to calculate total 8 ratios: stock turnover ratio, ownership ratio, that means proprietary ratio, current ratio, liquid ratio, rate on return on a capital employed, rate on return on a equity capital, net profit ratio, creditors velocity ratio, that known as creditary ratios. Right? Additional information is given here. In this sum, I am showing the only basic necessary calculation required for the solving of this sum. So let's write down notes. Other ratios you have to calculate by your own. First is the stock turnover ratio. So finding out the stock turnover ratio, we need a cost of goods sold, right? So whatever the formula, cost of goods sold divided by average stocks. So we have opening stock and closing stock, both of them, but we don't have a cost of goods sold. So we have to find out. There is the basic formula of the cost of goods sold is equals to sales minus gross profit. So neither we have a gross profit or neither we have a sales, right? So on the basis of the debtors ratio, we are finding out the credit sales, right? So let's find out. Ratio is equals to debtors plus bills receivable upon credit sales into days. So 90 days is given. Debtors are 2 lakh, bills receivable is 50,000. Credit sale we have to find out. We are putting X into 360. Right? So we get after solving this equation, we are getting the X is equals to 10 lakh. That means credit sales come 10 lakh. There is other hint is given. The cash sales is 20% of the total sales. So total sales, cash sales and credit sales. Credit sale is 10 lakh. So cash sales is 20% of the total sale. So remaining will be 80%, right? So credit sale will be 80%. So 80% is a 10 lakh. So what will become for a 100%? It will come 12,50,000. Right? So total sale will become 12,50,000. 50,000, right? Now, on the basis of the sales, we can find out the gross profit. Yes, gross profit is given 40% of the sales. So 40% into 12,50,000. So gross profit will come 5 lakh. So cost of goods sold is equals to 12,50,000 minus 5 lakh. It will come 7,50,000. So out of cost of goods sold 7,50,000, you can easily find out the stock turnover ratio, right? And the next thing is to find out the creditors ratio. You have to find out the purchase, right? So on the base to find out the creditors ratio, now we are calculation of the purchase. To finding out the purchase, we are using the formula cost of goods sold is equals to opening stock plus purchase minus closing stock, right? So we have a cost of goods sold as well as opening stock as well as closing stock. So from this formula we can find out the purchase. So cost of goods sold is equals to 7,50,000 is equals to opening stock will become 1,25,000 plus purchase we have to find out, we are putting as X, minus closing stock will become 1,75,000. So we have to find out purchase. So 7,50,000 plus 1,75,000 minus 1,25,000. The purchase will come 8 lakh. Right? Rest of the ratio you can easily find out. So do it by your own. Thank you.